This is the Anything Show with John Francois.
Billy, what's up?
How you doing, John? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being had. I love it. Well, yeah. I mean, and it kind of ties in with the subject material of this documentary here. But yeah, no, I'm loving this documentary that's coming out today on Hulu as we talk, Tuesday, November 1st. And it just had me thinking, being raised by Christian parents, it's taught me that like this religion has a very complicated relationship between the desire for purity and the acknowledgement that, we sin and Jesus died on the cross so that, we have the ability to be forgiven for said sins. So I wonder if there was a scenario, where Jerry and Becki Falwell, the evangelical couple that you discussed here, I wonder if they were just upfront, before all this happened. They were just upfront with the fact that, like, hey, we like to experiment with our sexuality and also we like to have a relationship with God. Would we be in this position today where it's like, oh my God, scandal? Like, they got a pool attendant that they apparently had sexual relations with.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. And I try to let people know that this documentary is not about Christians and Christianity. It is about people who exploit Christians and Christianity for power and profit. And the danger here is the kind of holier than thou hypocrisy of people who would attempt to impose, morals and values on other people, whether it's the giant student body at Liberty University, the faculty at Liberty, or the entire country, because this story is kind of a butterfly effect story where this alleged cuckold threesome in Miami may very well have impacted the outcome of the last two presidential elections. So it's a much bigger story than just this kind of fall from grace. But yes, I think especially in a faith where forgiveness plays such a central role, whereas you and I speak today, we could turn on the television and see Jimmy Swaggart and Jim Baker preaching again on television. Like there is definitely an opportunity for a third act here for the Falwells if they told their whole truth.
I wish I could just go into the brains of Giancarlo Granda. I think his name is Giancarlo Granda. Yeah, the pool attendant, and Jerry and Becki Falwell. So I want to go into both their brains. I mean, from Jerry and Becki's perspective, like, did they understand the gravity that this scandal would entail, like, once it came out? And of course, the 20-year-old pool attendant, being associated with people of this caliber. Did both parties? Do you think, from your experience producing this documentary, getting a taste of the subjects, did you get an understanding of like them, realizing like what they were going to get themselves into, or was it just kind of this classic situation of, powerful people think they can get away with anything, and then this 20-year-old pool attendant, maybe he was, taking advantage for financial reasons? Like, what's your perspective on all that?
Well, I think Giancarlo, first and foremost, had no idea who they were when he met them. Age 20, working as a pool attendant to put himself through college. It wasn't until his sister recognized the name Jerry Falwell that he even understood how powerful these people are. That said, he went in eyes wide open. These were consenting adults. Yes, the power disparity was significant, but he initially thought he knew what he was getting himself into. I don't know that it worked out that way. I think he eventually found himself in over his head. I describe, God forbid, the documentary as like Get Out meets The Righteous Gemstones. Giancarlo is kind of honey trapped into this world of power and privilege and money and real estate, and he loves it. He finds it intoxicating. He uses that word, and it's not until there are more red flags and bigger red flags that he realizes that as this scandal kind of erupts through this bizarre real estate transaction that they found themselves, the Falwells and Giancarlo partnered in, and this potential litigation and threats to expose the true nature of their relationship. When that happens, he realizes that this is kind of going to be, as his sister refers to it, as a Monica Lewinsky kind of situation where you don't want to be the least powerful person in a scandal, because you're going to get crushed and you're going to forever get branded as the intern or the pool boy in this case.
Do you get the feeling that viewers might look at Giancarlo and be like, wow, I mean, especially now telling his side of the story in this documentary series, do you think that he is trying to make the best of it, trying to, profit off of this brand, and kind of in a way, also maybe carry on with his life by just getting this story out there?
Well, I think it's up to the audience to decide, who they believe and what they believe. The information in the documentary is all heavily vetted and corroborated with copious amounts of texts and emails and photos and even some pretty revealing video footage that is excerpted in the documentary. And so I think that's up to the audience to decide. But for Giancarlo, I think it was, to an extent, figuring out a way to close this 10-year chapter of his life and move on, which is what he told me, that he's like, this interview for the documentary and the book that he wrote that came out last week, Off the Deep End. He said, this is my last say on this. If people want to know what I think about it, they can watch the doc or read the book. And I'm going to move on with my life now.
And I know that there, was some fizzling of a business relationship between Giancarlo and the Falwells. Do you think that if the relationship had not fizzled, they would still kind of be carrying on with their relationship in secret? I guess you could say.
Well, I don't know if they'd still be carrying on with the relationship, but I do know that we never would have learned about it without this litigation, this dispute over the $4.65 million piece of commercial real estate that they are partners in South Beach. And a bizarre kind of epilogue to all of this, which is not in the documentary, is that as you and I speak today, they are still partners in that real estate property. Giancarlo still owns 24.9%. The Falwell family owns the rest in this property in South Beach, which I've no doubt is very, very valuable today.
And lastly, when you were researching and you were getting into this whole story of the Falwells using the pool attendant, this young pool attendant, college age, as sort of this sexual toy, did you kind of think to yourself, wow, how cliche porno can this be?
Yeah, well, it's funny, until about 2015, when the term cuck entered the political lexicon somehow, I didn't actually know what that was or what that meant, which is why we define the term, in fact, early in the documentary. So we know what we're talking about here. And I will put it to you this way. I regretted Googling it, John.
Okay. And on that note, it was nice to talk to you. I love it, man. Billy Corben, director of the documentary, God Forbid, the sex scandal that brought down a dynasty. It is released today on Hulu, Tuesday, November 1st, as we're recording this. Billy, man, it's so awesome to talk to you. And hey, look, sex sells. So I know this documentary is gonna really catch a lot of eyeballs. I'm definitely interested in watching it today.
Thank you. Good night and good cuck.
Thanks, Billy.
The Anything Show with John Francois is on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. Join us on YouTube, Facebook.com/The Anything Show, and Instagram and TikTok @Anything Show Francois.